Hi folks, well this week we're doing two of my least favourite things. One's working with, well, you wouldn't really call it wood, it's a poor excuse for plywood that comes in the drawer set that I've got in the back of the work ute, and electrical. Not really a fan of either of them, but I decided I wanted to put some bits and pieces in the back of the ute to make it a bit more usable for what we do with it. And the weather had turned to poo, which you wouldn't tell by looking today, because probably should have been at home painting the fenders on the XK, but oh well, live and learn. Friday was ridiculously stormy and wet and the yard's all boggy, so I said I'd come into work and finish this one. I wasn't originally going to record it because it bores me to tears, so I didn't think it was really worth putting up, but we'll see. It'll only be a short one because it'll be a bit of a highlight one. I'll turn you around and show you what you'd be doing. Okay, so we've got one of the wings out of the drawer kit that we've got that we have to cut a notch out so it'll clear the tub, and then that's going to go in to finish off over in that back corner. What I've got running over in that back corner, see if I can get up here, is we've got Anderson plug, and that one's coming over to run a drawer fridge that we're going to run on the top of that one there. That is just going to be like an empty storage pocket. Probably won't get a lot of stuff in there because the drawer fridge will actually secure down on there and pin it down, but we're not really using that one anyway. But the back one will be accessible. The drawers went in because, well, I'm vertically challenged and on a lifted ute I can't really reach in the tub, so they're just for being able to store odds and sods in when we go out to do shows for the workshop and stuff like that, or go get a car that's broken down, or go look at a car. And this one slides out on that side. They're a really basic setup. They're 1800 long, so they fill the dual cab up. Over this side we've put a 120 amp hour lithium battery and a DC-DC charger that suits the smart charging system alternators on the vehicles nowadays. So that's all come with a plug and play kit. That's all Anderson plug connections and that to the front of the car, and that's just got to be mounted up, but it's all wired up. We've got the item sitting beside it right there. That one's our I've had a mental blank, hang on. That's our, think about it, radio. So we had a coffee and I remembered what it was. That's our shunt, 12 volt shunt. Everything in the back of the vehicle is earthed through that. And then from that then earths out to the battery. All the accessories take their power from the second battery. And because they go through the shunt, it'll let us keep an eye on current draw and voltage and everything through the battery monitor we got on the front there. This row here is just a row of 12 volt outlets for cigarette lighter style plugs and a dual USB one, and it's got a little battery minder voltage regulator on top of it, or voltage gauge, sorry. And the DC-DC charger, like I was saying, is a smart alternator compatible one. So it's got the wire there that goes to the trigger for the ignition system. So when the ignition system's hot, it lets it know this car's running and ready to charge. And they all came pre-terminated with Anderson plugs. So it makes it simple for bullheads that don't like electrical to hook it up. We had to run the 50 amp Anderson cable all the way through to the front of the engine bay. That's what I spent most of yesterday doing, crawling around on the floor, and cable tied that up, secured it up through, and we've got a fused battery live, which is going to go to the output on the battery post. Our our negative goes direct to the battery, and then in our fuse box we found, see if I can unplug it. Come on. In the fuse box on this particular setup, we found a 10 amp fuse there that's 12 volt switched, and we just put an outer fuse connector in there, and that's going down to our 12 volt ignition source at the back of the vehicle. So all of that took a lot longer than it should have, because don't know what I'm doing, so it wasn't really worth recording, and it was really boring. So this probably won't be much better, but we've got to get something out. So yeah, I'm going to get in, cut this piece of ply, and we'll see if we can make it fit that hole over there in the back corner, if we can get it remotely close. So we've got our first outrigger wing cut, and the mounting holes drilled, and the carpet that comes on it has been sprayed with glue, same as the timber, so that's ready to go in. And then that's going to go up in that corner there, and we should be good to go and move on to the next side. Right, so that's the first one done. We've got the Anderson plug tucked up through there, and we can push the excess back down through that access hole I've got. So we'll see how much of that we need for the fridge to plug in, and that's secured all the way up to the back, so nice and solid. Now we'll muck around with cutting a template and doing this one over here and gluing it down, and get it in and put the fuses in and run a test. Okay, so we've got the adhesive sprayed onto the carpet on the second one and onto the timber. Got to let that sit for 5 minutes or so, between 5 and 7, and then we'll put that on there, wrap it over, and throw it in the hole. All right, folks, so this is going to be a wrap up of this one for this week. Really short, like I said. The weather didn't play the game, so I wasn't really going to get any work done at home, so someone might be interested in this. If not, sorry, we're back on the XK again soon, very soon, next week. But I'll just turn you around and show you what we've got set up. Okay, so it's all hooked up, it's all running, the alternator's charging, all fits under the standard tonneau cover. So we've got our drawer fridge in there, tucked across to the side, so there's still plenty of room, nice and light, and it's pulling down to temperature. Not a huge fridge, but enough to chuck a couple of sandwiches, a couple of drinks, stuff like that for a bit of a road trip or while you're working away from the shed. The drawers still function, this top slider still functions. Over here I do have to build a cover to go on top of the battery there. I'll probably fold something up out of alley and then cover it with the leftover carpet. So down on the front here, if it shows up, that shows we're charging, 13.62 volts output. If we scroll through it, 4.5 amps is being pulled out. That's because the fridge hasn't quite come to temperature yet. The minute you set this, if we go up, so make it a bit warmer than what it actually is, the fridge is turned off because it doesn't need to cycle in, and the battery monitor is showing there's no current draw on it. So if I leave you guys sitting there somewhere so you can kind of see it, nope, come back. So you can see that there is, what's that, that's on amps, that's on 0. So now if I turn the fridge up so the compressor kicks in, that should start pulling down. There you go, compressor's kicked in and it's drawing current again. So now we can scroll through that for, where are we? How many amp hours are in the battery? The battery's sitting at 19 degrees and 99% charged, and it's got 13.61 volts going into it. Our accessory panel showing the same. We've got, where are we? 2 universal outlets for cigarette lighter style fittings, and we've got our 2 USB ports down there. So, and what are they? There's a 2.5 amp and a 1 amp. So that's all there. And up there is our DC-DC charger. It's for smart alternators. If we focus in there, The alternator light is the one flashing in the top left. That means the alternator signal is picked up. So it's turned the charger on, and the very last one is solid green, which means it's in lithium ion mode and it's currently in bulk charge to get the battery back up. So yeah, it's still sorting a few bits and pieces out. We've got to muck around with the settings on that gauge a little bit, and just make sure that the fridge pulls down and there's no random current draws there when the car's turned off and it keeps charge. I am going to give this one to my brother to take to work with him one day, because he works up at Bremer Ford in Ipswich, and get the guys up there to jump into the computer, and you can change the settings in the factory ECU to be dual battery, and also muck around with the maximum battery voltage that it allows to keep in there. So we'll switch those two functions over, so it should function like a regular alternator instead of a smart one. And yeah, we're done. All right, thanks for sticking around, thanks for watching, and yeah, give us a comment. Not that there's a lot to comment on that, probably doesn't interest a hell of a lot of people. Like, share and subscribe, but the main reason we've done that is we're going to put some basic hand tools in there, so that way if we find a car, go out looking for stuff, we've got everything self-contained there, a little compressor as well. I've got a 240 volt inverter that I'm going to put in there as well, just a little one to run battery chargers for cordless tools. And yeah, the fridge for some drinks and food and stuff like that. And later on, January, first week of January, something like that, we're going to do a road trip down to Summernats. So, see how it goes. Again, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.